Live from the Citrus County Auditorium, it's time for Conversations with ETAs, with your host, Tupelo Tom Brown, and his ETA friends, David Lee, Ben Thompson, Cody Daniels, Alex Mitchell, and Emilio Santoro. With special guest Joan Embry from the San Diego Zoo. And now, ladies and gentlemen, direct from Tupelo, Mississippi, here's Tommy.
Good evening, everybody. Oh, my goodness. It is so good to see you on a Wednesday night. If you were like me, you drove a long, long time to get here, unless you live here in Florida, because it's not close. It's close to everything you want to go to, but you didn't really want to go there. You wanted to come here, and this place is always on a different side of the road than I remember. I don't know if they keep moving it every year. But I got to tell you, it's great to be here. My name is Tupelo Tom. You might have seen it up there on the big screen. And what we're going to do is we're just going to kind of have a conversation with some of your favorite ETAs, because sometimes I feel like they don't get to really speak as themselves and kind of tell their stories. So we're going to kick off this festival. Cody said, let's kick it off Tonight Show style, but I'm old school. I'm Johnny Carson. It's all about the guys. It's not about the host, right? They don't do that anymore. But what we're going to do, we're going to have fun. I'm so excited to be here because I tell you, today is the first day of summer. Today, around 9:50, I don't know if you knew it, the first day of summer. Keep it up, because I didn't memorize this. Today is the first day of summer, and that makes today the longest day of the year. It does. It makes it the longest. Or it's kind of like being at a David Lee show. So I'm saying it's long. I'm really saying it's long. Summertime, though, it's really a chance for us to kind of kick back, and I know some of you this weekend are just going to sit around and eat cheese and sin, but hey, that's okay too. We've got all kinds of things planned for you. But according to a survey that I read about, just for the sake of this joke, 33% of people will call in sick on a sunny Friday. 33%. And it looks, by the looks of this, it looks like 100% of you have called in for the rest of the week sick. Don't cough in my direction. It is hot in the summer, and I found a list of the sweatiest cities in the United States. And that list goes something like, by the way, I couldn't get a union cue card guy, so I got David Allen. That's right. Usually I work without Annette, but Annette couldn't be here tonight, so I got David. The number 5 sweatiest city is Tallahassee, Florida. Anybody from Tallahassee around here? Yeah, there you go. The number 4 sweatiest city, New Orleans, Louisiana. That's a different kind of Louisiana sweat there, isn't it? The number 3, Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But they sweat because they have LSU. But well, they don't sweat about the rebels, so what does it matter to me? Number 2 sweatiest city, Corpus Christi, Texas. And Texas or Corpus Christi? Or maybe you're just sweaty. I'm not really sure. She's sweaty. Somebody towel her off back there. The number 1 sweatiest city is actually Orlando, Florida. Orlando, Florida. It's so sweaty in Orlando that Ben Thompson can actually out-sweat Orlando. That's how much Ben Thompson sweats. When Ben Thompson goes to Orlando, that's what causes a lot of the hurricanes that happen around here. All right, thank you very much. We've got, thank you, David. I have some slides for you because I feel like we have summer vacation now, and we don't get to have as many slideshows as we used to when we were kids. You know, we had slides that we would take and we would show people, and now everything's on our phone, and it's just not the same. So I wanted to have a quick little slideshow for you. You know, a lot of people have been asking me about the Tupelo Tom and Big Lou podcast, Talkin' with Tupelo Tom and Big Lou. You can clap for it. According to statistics, 37 of you downloaded it today, so we appreciate that. You might not have listened to it, but we really don't care about that. We only count the downloads. We don't care about enjoyment or anything other than the downloads. So just download it, would you? But I've got the first slide. It shows Jeff and myself working on our podcast. Jeff, now when we meet, a lot of times when we meet to talk about the podcast, Jeff loves to whip up some pasta. So we have that. And then the next one we have is when we add the secret ingredient to it. It's the vodka in the drink that won't make a full cocktail, so we just put it in the pasta. Next up, we have this shot. This was actually shot just yesterday by satellite, and that is a view of the parking lot here in back of all the trucks that Cote brought in to load. This takes a lot of trucks, I'll tell you. We had another slide here, too, that came up, and what happened was I thought that was also a slide of the trucks that were unloading for Cody, but actually that's just a slide of the trucks that were unloading Rianne's luggage. So that one was not supposed to be in there. Cody does have so much going on with this festival. He's got these fully licensed Elvis Presley Enterprises festivals because he feels it's so important to support EPE and to be able to use the Elvis name to attract people to come to these festivals, and I think that's fantastic. He has to pay for that. Let's hear it for Cody doing that. But Cody's going to be branching out. He wants to reach outside the Elvis world. He has some other festival ideas that he wanted to run by you, and based on your reaction will be if we proceed on these festival ideas or not. So he's paying attention back there right now. I said he's paying attention back there right now. The first festival we have is, go to this one. Next slide. Off the trucks. We have the Hurricane Festival. We feel like that's going to be a festival idea. It'll be the kind of festival you never have to worry about your hair, and we're not going to sell hats. So we have that one. And then the next festival, go to the next slide, we have the Tornado Fest for the Midwest. And being someone who's lived through a tornado and had a house hit by 3 trees, I'm not going to be hosting this festival, okay? I'm not going to go to the Tornado Festival. And then, of course, next up we have the Landslide Festival, which is, that kind of actually looks like the way it takes to drive to Helen, Georgia for the Jeff Lewis and Friends Festival. I think I've actually recognized that corner there. And we have one more festival that Code has worked on, and it's a kids festival. There will not be after parties, but there will be after school parties. So Jeff, the king of the after school party, will be hosting the Kids Fest for Cote. And, well, we also have something else that we wanted to bring you. We have some guys coming out here, and the gentleman that we're going to be bringing out in a few minutes really are looking forward, I hope, to talking to you and telling their story. But there's one gentleman that will be coming out in a few minutes that, among all the ETAs generally acknowledge that this guy is the one that is the most centered, the one who is the most honest, and the one that you go to seek advice. And I asked David Lee, I said, David, you know, you're so centered, and not self-centered, so centered. That one didn't come out the way I had some synapses that were flashing wrong on that one. But I said, you know, who do you turn to? Who do you look to? And he, of course, looked at me, as he's done many gospel shows. And he said, Tom, you have to turn it over to one man. Turn it over to one man. Take a look at this slide. This is who he turns it over to. Keep calm. You keep calm. And woo! Oh, my goodness. Now, the producer of our podcast, I was very excited that he's going to be out a little bit later on. And I was unaware that Alex Mitchell, they had actually produced a movie about his life. It was a TV movie. Let's take a look at this. This next one is an actual TV movie that came out about Alex Mitchell. It's called We Need to Talk About Alex. starring Jack Goss and Jordan Moore, and they've done some incredible work together. This movie really told the story of young Alex, but that wasn't enough. They had a sequel that came out a few years later, a TV movie that came out. Let's take a look at the next one here. This one is The Truth About Alex. And then finally, after The Truth came out, they had one more movie, Part 3. But they didn't want to call it Part 3. They wanted to really get across the message of who Alex really is. Let's take a look at that final movie, Part 3, Alexander the Great. And he's wearing sandals. So we also have one more gentleman that'll be out a little bit later, and everybody around here loves Cody. I mean, Cody Daniels. Let's hear it. Our boss. And we had a quick shot this afternoon. Take a look at Cody. We just wanted to say hello and thank you to Cody. That's Cody on the right. Well, maybe Cody's on the left. I'm not really. Is Cody on the right of the? Well, anyway, Cody's in that picture somewhere. He's either on the left or the right. We also have a couple of Brits that'll be out here in just a few minutes. Take a look at these Brits that'll be out in just a few minutes. We have Ben Thompson and Emilio will be out, and. Oh, don't think that the bald guy on the left is who you think it is, because next slide, no, he brought Rianne. Ben and Rianne are here as well. We're so excited. She luckily won't be out on the stage because we wanted to keep the audience. And you know, the final bit that we wanted to say is we all around here love Dana and Michael Cullifer, and we're so excited that Michael's family just growing. We have one, this was the last family reunion. On this slide, and we're so, well, we've got that one. Rianne went in there and put that slide in. Oh, look at the look on Ben's face. They're actually touching. But I wasn't, my hand was floating on top of her. But that was in Tupelo, and when she came down and wanted a scarf, and I told her I didn't have a scarf, so I gave her Ben's room key, and I hear it went well that night. But finally, we do want to say congratulations to Michael Cullifer and Dana, and take a look at this last one here, second to last one, but we've got the big family reunion, the Cullifer family, always. If Cullifer doesn't stop, the next family reunion photograph will come from a satellite. And finally, from all of us at Cody Daniels and all the team backstage, take a look at this last slide. We got together for a photo shoot. We were so excited to get together on this photo for you and pose, and all of us around here we're just so excited. And I want to thank you for being here, and we're ready to bring out our first guest. What about that? I'm going to go sit down. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, these ETAs have a dream come true to get on stage and be Elvis, and I get a chance every now and then to be on stage and be Mr. Carson. So thank you for that. All right, our first gentleman was crowned an Ultimate Champion in 2015. He knows all about championships. He's from Birmingham, Alabama. Let's put the woo together for Mr. David Lee, the champion, the Ultimate. David Lee, welcome, sir. How are you? We were excited to have you here. You subtly brought your championship belt. I like that.
Well, it was strange. I had it in the car.
I
carried it around everywhere.
Yeah, you had it in the car, but it was hanging from the rearview mirror, and I thought that
it's
was
also an air freshener.
It is.
So
it is.
good.
It's nice. It's nice. So, becoming an Ultimate is a career-changing moment because it means that you've done away now with the contest, and you can just, rest on your laurels. And you have nice laurels, by the way. But I keep them in my back pocket. Yeah. You've lost some of your laurels, too, over the last few months.
50 laurels.
50 laurels. Oh, that's just whoop-de-doo.
Did you know that, Tom? I lost 50 laurels.
You did? Wow. I extend to you this laurel and hearty handshake.
Well,
there you go.
Yes,
thank you very much. But you became an Ultimate Champion. You've been a tribute artist for a number of years. But how did you find Elvis? Like, what happened in your life that, like, who was that guy? Did you have a moment?
Well, a lot of my buddies, they got the story, and I've heard Dean say it, and some other guys, you know, Mama put me on the coffee table when I was 3 years old and made me a little jumpsuit. That was not me. I was 22 years old before I really discovered the real Elvis. I'd heard songs like Hound Dog and the basic songs, but a friend of mine that I worked with, I got in the car with him one day to go to lunch, and it was Elvis all day. And so the next day we went to lunch again, it was Elvis. After about a week, I said, is that all you listen to? And I thought he was going to punch me. He said, what's wrong with that? And I said, well, nothing. I just never met anybody that only listened to one person. Well, after about the second week, I started asking, where do you get this? And what about If I Can Dream? And give me a copy of this. And so I started collecting Elvis stuff. And so that turned into a huge hobby. Even to this day, I have over 10,000 pieces of Elvis memorabilia. I have over 1,000 Elvis 8-tracks, man. Who needs that?
I know.
I still buy them, and Tara's like, well, don't you have How Great Thou Art? I'm like, yeah, like 28 times, but I'm buying it anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just can't leave Elvis behind. Man.
Nothing to play them on, but
I can play them, man.
We've been antiquing together. We
sure
don't
have.
leave anything Elvis related. We don't leave it behind at the store. One of us brings it home.
It's like the Marine thing. No man left behind.
We do not leave. We do not leave.
You guys
Elvis.
know what I'm talking about. I see you at the tables over there.
Oh yeah.
John Daly's back over there. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
He has the I love David Lee buttons and the I hate David Lee buttons.
That's right. I don't want to know which one sells the best. Just give me the money.
Just
off
exactly.
That's what Tara said.
That's right. Now, for you also, at that age, 22, there had to be a first show where you go up on stage and like, okay, here I go. Was it all you wanted it to be, or looking back on it, would you rather forget it? Because if you'd rather forget it, it makes a much better story.
Yeah, I'd rather you not mention it now at all.
Exactly.
We'll talk about it. Now, I probably am the most unique of anybody because I actually did my very first show with another guy who also had never done Elvis. And so we both decided to dress up and sing some songs to a guy that worked with us that was leaving. So the guy's name was Bill, so we changed the name of Moody Blue to Moody Bill because the guy kind of had it. So we thought it would be fun to do that. And so we did that. We sang about 8 songs. He rented a costume. I bought a costume at a costume shop, and I remember trying it on. It's the only one the lady had. And so I come out and I said, well, what do you think? And she said, honey, that's a medium, and I think you need an extra large. But it was the only one she had, and so I bought it, and it was about this long. And so Tara's grandmother put from right here down with gold lame on it. And so,
okay.
Oh, it was a real looker, man. I don't know if I still have it. If I still have it, I'll bring it next time.
You probably wear it now.
So after that show, and my buddy, he went on to he's a lieutenant in the police department, has had a great career. But that day, not one person told him, you sound like Elvis or anything. And I was not really set out to do an Elvis career. I'd never thought about singing really like for that. And I had 20 people at least say, man, you sound like Elvis. And I said, I just had listened to it so much, it came out like it went in, you know. Yeah. And so the next thing you know, somebody said, would you sing at my sister's birthday? Would you sing at this wedding? Would you sing on the street corner? And I was, of course, yeah. So any competitions, local, I was there, man. I was like, let me show you how good I am. Of course, looking back, I wasn't very good, but thankfully there's no Elvis police to arrest us because some people get better. So, yeah. But you know what? It's easy for guys now to jump online and find a pair of white Florsheim boots and a $3,000 suit and a $2,000 wig and come out looking great, and that's great. I kind of had the hard way. I had to beg and borrow to find out where you got this and where you got that. And to be honest with you, not all the Elvis guys were wanting to tell you. They thought they had their little thing. And so I always told Tara, and even to this day, if somebody asks me, I always help them. I always guide them to where, whatever it may be. Which, hey, that's the Elvis thing to do. I just feel like Elvis would have done that too. So.
Well, and the thing about it's the brotherhood that I talk about backstage. There's just a certain camaraderie among the performers that you guys are always there for each other, always looking out for each other. That first gig led to the next gig, led to the next gig. And I've always said that the ETAs, generally where they are, you're the Elvis ambassador. All your friends know that you're the Elvis guy. In Tupelo, growing up in the 60s and 70s, in school, I was the Elvis guy, the storehouse of information. Oh, yeah. Albums were coming out. They were all new and things. What is, when you're just kind of at the house wanting to listen to Elvis, what's the go-to? Because you and I are like album guys. We love whole albums.
And I'll be honest with you, you can put on an album, you may have heard some of those same songs in the car the day before, but you can put on an album, it just sounds better. Yeah. I don't know, it puts you more in the mood. But when I'm just listening for myself at home, there's no show I've got to practice for certain songs, I like some of the 60s stuff. His voice was just so airy and full, and some of those songs are way undercredited. They're beautiful songs. Of course, some of them are super popular songs, and some of them are not. But I like that. And of course, the 70s deep cuts. You know, and one song I've got here, "The Last Farewell," is a beautiful song. Got that in one of the shows for old time's sake. Songs like that. You know, of course, "Promised Land's always my favorite. When I'm in the car, man, I just crank it up when it comes on. It's like I've never heard it before. It's rock and roll, you know, it's great. So.
It's kind of like now, if we hear somebody else do "Promised Land," we're like, well, that's kind of David's, you know.
I never say that.
I will speak up for you because I feel the same way when you stole "There Is No God But God." I mean, I know.
But I did feel guilty about it at least.
Well, you called me out for the second verse, and luckily I had memorized the second verse, same as the first verse.
That's right.
That's why it's my song. I'm not a singer.
I won't do "There Is No God" no more, but I am going to start singing "Big Bad John." So.
Okay, well,
you want to tell them that?
Oh, you tell them.
Well, we were at the gospel show last week in Tupelo, and so the name of the song slips me now. Oh yeah, I know what it was.
We'll cut this out of the video.
Yeah, and so the song comes on, and so Jeff said, I think it was Jeff said, what is the name of that? And Tom was so confident in his answer. He said, "That's Big Bad John." But it wasn't. It was a thing called love. And Tom caught us. He said, "I was so sure of myself too." But it happens. Yeah. Why we would be doing "Big Bad John" at a gospel show, I don't know. I didn't cross that line with you, but.
It was the end of a long weekend.
Yeah,
I thought I was at a Jimmy Dean festival. I just didn't know anymore. Now, all those shows, and you've done so many shows, is there one that stands out as things, when you're doing it, when you arrive or when you're there, you think, well, this is messed up, but this is one of those learning moments that I'm going to learn from this show?
Yeah. Well, now things are so organized. Thanks for people like Cody and Jeff that put good festivals together. Everybody kind of knows what they're doing. But, you know, early on, you're learning yourself, and a lot of people that hire you don't know. And so, you know, you show up, sometimes there's no dressing room. Like, people didn't have the forethought to think you had to change clothes. I don't know if they just think you walk around in a jumpsuit all the time.
Yeah.
So I have changed in horse trailers. I have changed in, you know, closets. I've changed in a state park bathroom, and I literally had to stand on the toilet to change because there was about this much liquid in the floor. I don't know what it was. If you know, nowhere bothers me now. Now, of course, here I have my own private dressing room in the back. All the other guys are sharing the ladies' room, but I've got my own room. But
that's true.
They'll get there. It takes time.
But it's weird. You still stand on the toilet to change pants. I just think there's no need, but you do.
I do it now.
It's just kind of a tradition.
Just in case.
Just in case. Now, also, one of the things I've discovered about ETAs is their incredible knowledge of makeup. So what tips do you have if you say you love to mentor the young ETAs, be it male or female. Do you have a piece of advice, makeup related, that you could pass along?
Sure. When Savannah was 14, I was picking her up from school and we were talking about mascara. And she looked at me like I was crazy. And I said, "Don't all the dads talk to their daughters about mascara?" So usually when I have a makeup question, I ask Savannah. So a lot of the guys, I don't want to give their secrets away because some of them do a lot of contouring and try, you know, they may want extra cheekbones or whatever it is they feel like they're lacking, butt pads or whatever they put in. I don't know. I don't use a lot of makeup because I'm naturally gorgeous.
Exactly.
You don't buy it for a second, do you, Tom?
Yeah, really, yeah. We'll edit that part out, too. Being an ultimate champion means that David is one of the few that has competed and won in Memphis against other guys. It happened to this gentleman in 2015, and that is the Windy City belt. Yeah. But you have another belt that, to me, is the most.
To bring it.
I wish you had to. I don't know.
That would have been great. But you know that belt, it's much like this one. It stays in a case, locked up behind glass, and you have to have white gloves on. Look here.
Oh my gosh! Look, there it is. Tell us about this championship belt.
This is the belt. My daughter got the $20,000 cash. I got the belt.
And by the way,
so this is.
I have my white gloves.
Several of the guys have a gold belt, but this one is made out and it says ETA World Champion. So it's quite an honor to own that. I'll be honest with you. Now, just for reference, David Allen put it on and he started losing his breath because it was so tight, even on his little body. So I never wear it.
But it did fit.
It did fit.
Angie has cloth white gloves. You guys have surgical gloves. And
you really, I see you wore them a lot there. Yeah,
I'm
that
not
works out
really
great,
sure.
man.
I may be cursing someone out in sign language here, but
You look like you've had a long week already.
yeah, really. I'm going to go ahead and I'll let you touch that and move on with it. But thank you, David,
Thanks,
for bringing that out.
Thank you, David. David, you want to come back and get this one in a minute if you don't? Thank you.
Actually, when you shake hands with David, you have to wear white gloves. So I didn't know if a lot of you knew
exactly
that.
right.
You know, but we thank you for being our first guest out of the chute, and
Thank
for
y'all.
and
Thank
for
y'all.
always representing Elvis, and for always
Thanks, appreciate it, man.
always sitting by me at gospel. I appreciate
I'll always sit by you.
That's
man.
exactly
Always.
right. Exactly right. I sit by David Lee and just listen because he knows every word to every gospel song. David Lee, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Next out, we are going to meet another Ultimate Champion who just got in last night, and it's really strange. He and Rianne and Emilio left England on the same plane, flew all the way across, flew to London to Orlando, were picked up, drove all the way to the house that they're staying in, and I'm staying with them in that house. And I left Tupelo after my radio show yesterday, which was a big mistake. I was on 6 to 10 a.m. At 10 a.m. I left Tupelo at about 11, and I drove. Took me 10 hours to get here, and we pulled up in the driveway at exactly the same time. That was weird timing, but that's life in the Elvis world. Those little moments, those little strange little coincidence things happen that you can't explain. So here, all the way from the UK, is my friend Mr. Ben Thompson. Ben Thompson.
Hello. Hello.
Good morning, Mr. Bond.
Good morning.
I just wanted to say, you're not my favorite. Roger Moore is my favorite, but still.
I really tried to coordinate.
I think you did, and I think the hat squad.
He's got great taste in hats.
Hey, old chap, where'd you get the hat? Where'd you get a hat like that?
I got it from Reed's in Tupelo.
That's right. He got it from Reed's in Tupelo. And I was so excited the other day. Ben and Rianne posted a photo. They went to see Tom Jones, and I was so excited because the hat from Tupelo was there. You took the hat from Reed's to...
It goes everywhere with me now.
Yeah.
You know, just in case you don't know, I'm bald.
Oh, Ben.
I just wasn't sure.
Yeah, well, you are, if you're
yeah.
not sure. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that I'm sure.
Oh, you're sure?
I was just sure they weren't.
Yeah. Did my blood pressure go up because the lights got brighter? I'm not really sure what happened there.
That's my happiness.
I like
man.
that. Am I supposed to walk toward that, or what? I'm not excited. Oh, okay.
Oh,
Oh, there we go. David, being an Ultimate Champion, Ben yourself being an Ultimate Champion, but before that, both of you won Tupelo. What kind of honor was that to, Ben, for you to win Tupelo?
Tupelo, obviously from being from the United Kingdom, Tupelo was always a place I wanted to go. It was the holy grail, if you like, of Elvis, even more so than Memphis, because it's the birthplace. And to go to that contest and win it is simply, for me, above the ultimate, the greatest achievement in my career. And the people that I met there, the friends I've made there, 10 years down the line, yes, it's been 10 years, are just still timeless to me. And I think there's no other place on the planet where you can feel more connected to Elvis and you really understand what he's about.
Yeah. And you guys doing the shows that you've done over the last few months, about the last year, we're coming up. I think we're really close to that anniversary date, 1 year of the Elvis movie coming out. David Lee was the first person I knew that saw it, because during the Tupelo Festival last year, you left on Saturday to see it Saturday and came back and were telling us about it. Right. It's changed everything in this world.
At shows, I'm seeing a lot of 13, 14, 15-year-old Elvis fans that are I haven't seen that in years. So that is great. And I love all the fans, no matter how old they are. But it's great to see the young people coming along, finding an interest in Elvis and being enamored with him the way we were.
So
that ensures that he will live on forever. So that movie's actually done more than I thought, and I thought it was going to be great. It's done more.
Yeah, and for Ben, same in Europe, same in England?
Europe, because Elvis never really got to Europe as a performer, I think there has always been much more of a need for people in Europe to see Elvis. And with the movie coming out, I mean, we every show, I did a show for a university campus. Sorry, that's college campus. We had this discussion.
Except at LSU, but still, go ahead.
And we had an audience of 600, and every person was a student. It was the first show I thought I'm going to be able to crowd surf, honestly, and I seriously thought about it. And it really has changed the face of how young people see Elvis. I always thought that Elvis was used as a descriptive word for young people. You know, like they see a guy with black hair, sideburns, and they just go, oh, hey, Elvis, you know. But now they understand it and they enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And that's just going to continue and continue and continue.
They've discovered him, and he belongs to them now instead of their mother or grandparents or something. They've found his story to be a story that touched them, about how you can have everything and have nothing if you don't know how to process that. So that's what I think has been so interesting about seeing it. And at the festivals that we've had so many new people here, and I envy them. I talked about this on the podcast. I envy them because they have so much to experience for the first time. For Ben, I was talking to David Lee. He told it he was a little late to the game, but made up for lost time. What about for yourself? How did you're there in England and you're living your life? What age was it that Elvis knocked on the door?
Yeah, I was really young. I would say I was probably realistically, we all say 3 years old. Everyone says 3 years old, but realistically, I was about 7 or 8 years old, and I actually discovered Elvis through YouTube.
Oh.
Because we had a PC, that's a personal computer, and they were just the thing at the time. And
computers are still around, Ben. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah, but they're not like these big things with big boxes anymore.
Oh, that's true.
Are they?
Yeah.
So I was allowed on the computer for 1 hour a day, and I was. And Rianne still.
I was going to say Rianne still does that. Yeah.
But I was on there for an hour, and I was on YouTube just listening to music, and the All Shook Up, the Heartbreak Hotel medley from '68 Comeback came on, and I'd never, I'd heard of Elvis, but I'd never watched any performance, and I watched that, and then this next video came on. Before I know it, I've been on the computer over an hour.
Ooh.
Oh, I know, and bedtime and everything, and Mom, can I have 5 more minutes, an extra 30 minutes, And I ended up watching a whole range from Ed Sullivan right the way through to kind of Aloha from Hawaii. And for me, it was just mind-blowing that this one man could do so many different things. I had no concept of the fact that they were different eras or different years or something like that. I was just like, this one man is doing all this? It's incredible. So from there, I then, obviously, my love of Elvis's energy and the way he was on stage come through. And then I did my research and everything, so on and so forth. And then 22 years later, yes, 22 years. And I know you wouldn't think it'd be a lot more. But I'm still the biggest of Elvis fans, and this the first and foremost reason I do what I do, and I'm sure these guys do, because of the love of Elvis.
Well, for me, I mean, growing up in Tupelo and buying the records as they came out, this was a process of his career that was developing in front of me as it was happening. And I know for a lot of people that were around, it was an ongoing career. For people like yourself, young people like yourself, that it's this capsule. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end to it. And it's where you dive in and what you learn, the process of what you learn. You were preparing for a job that you didn't know would exist when you were doing this. It was research almost.
Absolutely. When I was 15 years old, I first did a tribute, if you like, and I had a $5 jumpsuit. I sprayed my hair black because I was, believe it or not, I was blonde. And I sprayed my sideburns on and everything. And I didn't think this was a career or anything. I thought it was just fun. It's just fun. I'm singing as my hero. I've been watching Elvis for 7 years and learning about him, and just my excitement for it. I was like, I'm going to do it. And then 15 years down the line, I'm sat here on stage talking to you about it, and visited so many places, met wonderful people, and that's all down to Elvis. And I definitely, 15-year-old me 8-year-old me had no idea what was out there, you know, and I'm so grateful.
Yeah. Do you have a first gig where you were hired to come in, and do you have a memory of that?
Basically, I'd done like a community festival, and I got hired for an afternoon tea party, and that's so British, isn't it? I'm so sorry.
That's the same thing happened to me.
I know, yeah,
the same thing happened to me. We're both from Birmingham.
They have those in Birmingham, David?
Yeah, they got
tea parties.
We have them all the time.
Yeah.
Sweet tea parties.
Sweet tea
We
parties.
call them
Sweet tea parties.
Sweet tea parties.
Same difference, so pretty much the same thing.
We just have our tea hot. But yeah, I got hired for this garden tea party, and there was about 30 people, all ladies that were doing a charity fundraiser. And I was just so happy to be there. They said, do you mind doing a mixture of the hits? I was like, yeah, of course, you know, no problem. And I made the mistake of, obviously my Elvis knowledge of songs was a lot more vast than the 20 hits. And I didn't sing a single hit of Elvis's at this. I was doing It's Midnight, and you know, If You Love Me, Let Me Know, and Any Way You Want Me. And I was like, do you know Suspicious Minds? Well, back then I had a CD player, and I'd pre-put all the tracks on the CDs.
Mm-hmm. Burned them on.
I burned it on.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I burned it on. So I couldn't change my set list. So it was like, well, I'm really sorry. I haven't got Suspicious Minds or The Wonder of You or Hound Dog. But
I can do Mary in the Morning, though, if anybody wants to.
But here's this Remind Me Too Much of You, you know. So, you make mistakes early on, but I remember that gig so well because they just enjoyed the fact that I was enjoying it, and you know they knew that it wasn't going to be the most polished thing. I thought I was a rock star, you know. I had 30 people there going, yeah, you know. They didn't know the songs, but they were going, yeah, you know. But yeah, great memories.
Well, for you, the knowledge that you were gaining when you were young has been, you know, brought to the stage now. And as David Lee said about, you know, mascara, you must be so happy with the wig technology that's available today. I mean, there's a lot. I got to tell you, I'm going to have to post a photo of the dressing room. There's more makeup in there. It's like Max Factor blew up in our dressing room.
Sideburns.
Yeah.
It certainly gets me out of trouble. I mean, again, when I first, you know, I was 19 years old. I was quite young when I first started losing my hair, and I was trying everything to save it. You know, everything but have a watering can on my head to grow, you know. And, you know, I had to look into, and it's quite a big thing for a young guy to accept, you know, that you're losing your hair and this, that, and the other. But seeing how good the wigs are and how much makeup's come on and how much you guys, when I first come on the scene, showed me how to do those things. You know, because the first time I put a wig on, I came out looking like Eddie Munster, you know. And you know, it was down to me like David and like Mario and all those guys. I said, no, don't do it like that. You know, put it 4 inches higher. You know, so your eyebrows and hair don't connect.
I was gonna say his eyebrows and hair. You save money on eyebrows that way.
You had a one head right here in the sky. Go back with a 4. Yeah.
Exactly. So I've got to actually say, as much as the wigs and the makeup, the suits have improved over so long, it's actually the mentoring of the guys that were ahead of me that helped me to strive to what I do now. And you know, people like, I remember doing my first Ultimate contest, and David Lee and so many others in the room, and I'm just sitting there watching them, understanding what they're doing, and really taking it, asking questions. You know, it felt strange maybe, but to me, I was like a sponge. I wanted to find out as much as I could, and now the next generation coming in, you know, and you know, 10 years have passed since I first come to the States, and I'm seeing the next group of guys coming, and they're doing the same thing. They're asking those questions, and they're putting their eyebrows with their wigs and stuff, and it's great. It's great to see. But what's so wonderful is all the new guys that are coming up are so humble, and they're in love with Elvis, and they love entertaining, and they're happy for us guys, you know, to help them.
As the fans have gotten younger, the ETAs, there's so many young up-and-coming ETAs that we're gonna You hit him with one of your belts.
This guy's over here talking about how it's changed in his 10 years or whatever, and I'm like, I'm double his age, man. Well, I first seen David Lee. I'm like, when did I become the old guy?
Yeah, well, as long as you're on stage with me, Dave, you don't have to worry about that. But I don't look as good in a jumpsuit as you guys do either, trust me. The one thing that I think is so important is that they get to know you, and you're always a big proponent on when you can talk with the fans and meet the fans. That's one of the things we were talking about at the house, that you had advised a lot of the young guys in Tupelo, like, get out and meet people, build your friendships with people, and they will follow you around because they will support you.
Absolutely. I was brought up with first impressions of everything, and you only get one chance at a first impression. And I've always lived by the term, look smart, think smart. And I think you should always, in our profession, always try to look your best. Always try to talk with everyone, meet new people, because it's only going to benefit everyone if we all get on and have fun, right? Sure. And thank you. No, I was saying to a lot of the younger guys that, don't be afraid to dress that little bit smarter. Don't be afraid to go out and take those extra pictures. Meet and greet will take an hour, 2 hours, however long don't put a time limit on it. Do whatever you want to do to have fun and enjoy, and fundamentally, it's you guys that make our jobs so worth doing, and without you, you deserve every bit of time we can give you. And I always say that if I could get paid in fun and laughter and live off it, that's what I would do, because that's what it's all about. We love you all.
Cody, did you hear that? He'll do it for fun and laughter.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. You don't have to convert that to whatever you British people spend over there, so that'll be nice. By the way, I'm still more British than he is.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank one of our ultimate champions here this week, Mr. Ben Thompson.
Thank you.
And next up, we have a gentleman without Elvis, we wouldn't be here. But without this gentleman, we wouldn't be here. Cody Daniels, right now. Come on up. I tell you, we're all living the dream tonight, folks. I tell you. There's a lot of dreams being... By the way, Ben, by the way, Ben, no offense. Okay, sorry.
You're in America!
There's a strange, and this is...
Let me tell you something, brother. All these Elvis-maniacs out here have been eating their vitamins, saying they're... I'm not doing this.
I was gonna... There's a strange spiritual connection between Elvis and wrestling. There are so many wrestlers that are Elvis fans, but there are so many ETAs that are wrestling fans. I mean, look at this, for goodness sake.
I'm sorry.
Is it showmanship? Is it... What is it? Is it costumes? What is it about that connection?
I think it's both the business and the show side. I mean, me and Dean talk about it all the time. Our good friend Ronnie, I don't know if you guys know Big Ronnie. Big Ronnie, you've seen him around at the festivals and stuff like that. Your boyfriend, of course. But no, I mean, you get to talking to these wrestlers and you realize that they go through the same things that all of us go through. I mean, you look at the booking, do they have the it factor? Do they have the connection with the fans? Because if you don't have the fans, then you have nothing. And there's so many similarities, and I just think it's really cool at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't think wrestling is not cool? And if you don't, then you're not cool. I mean,
Woo!
woo! Woo!
I'm waiting on an ETA to come out as Honky Tonk Man one day. I still haven't. It just seems so obvious. It's just sitting right there. Cote, we've been talking about discovering Elvis, and some of us know your story, but there's a lot of new people here. Tell us your story of how Elvis came into your life, and it wasn't very far away from this place.
It wasn't. I was 2 years old, and my grandmother had pneumonia, and I was a problem child. Couldn't sit still for anything. Still can't sit still for anything. Not much has changed. And she put in a movie called Follow That Dream, which by chance was filmed right here in Inverness in Yankeetown in Ocala. And I was taken by him. I remember, I know I was only 2, but I always, my first memory of him was that wide-angle shot that's coming from above, and you see the old, you know, whatever the heck you call it, the epitome of Elvis meets the Beverly Hillbillies. That's what I call it. I mean, really, let's be honest. I mean, that was the movie. And Elvis is singing, "What a wonderful life, this life I'm living." And, I mean, the car gets stuck, and Elvis almost breaks its back trying to get the car over the tree stump or the tree or whatever. And I remember his smile. That was my first image of Elvis. Wow. And I remember seeing that, and then I saw him in the white jumpsuit, and it was just like all over. I was like, Jesus, this guy's a superhero. And, of course, he had a cape. Yeah. So I looked at Mom, and I was like, yeah. I didn't do that, but you know what I mean. Yeah. You get the gist of it. And, I mean, I came in there. I used Sharpies. I don't know if you know the little pom-poms that they had, like kitten balls of yarn. I'd tie them to my belt to make sure, like, make them like look like chains. And don't laugh at me.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
He doesn't even understand a word that I'm saying.
He sprayed his hair black.
Yeah. It just snowballed from there. And, I mean, I've had so many amazing people that have surrounded me in such an amazing family. And to say that it's our 6th year here is, it's something else. And
there are 3 rooms where people are staying that don't have televisions because Cote came to our house and got all the TVs here. I mean, he's just so much technology on this stage that
Tom Brown.
Exactly. For you, you're here, you're producing this festival, but let's go back to that young Cody. I remember the first time I met you in Tupelo. You were at Tupelo Hardware.
I was.
So this is not long after that you've just discovered Elvis, and you quickly somehow ended up in Tupelo.
It was, that was last week, Tom.
Yeah, no, really. That was last week. Our next guest.
Exactly. No, so my grandmother, of course, without her, there would be no this. I wouldn't have met any of you guys. I mean, truly. And they had a youth competition in Tupelo, and only 2 kids signed up. So this year we had 15 kids that signed up. So I'd say we're doing pretty good. But it was me and another gentleman by the name of Alex Swindle. And we... and
you got 3rd.
He got 3rd. I got 3rd back then, too. I didn't even know what that meant back then. I mean, it was just...
You laid it out there. I'm sorry.
It was too easy. You do. If you're not first, you're last. And he reminds me of that every time. I came off the stage last Ultimate. He's like, well, you know what I'm going to say? And I said, just say it. He goes, you're not first, you're last. I said, I know.
If you're not first, you're 3rd.
Bobby, you know how to play.
Ricky Bobby, you know how, anyway. So from there, they signed me up, and I went there, and I mean, we actually did a concert the first year at Fair Park. It was the first year that they had the Ultimate contest. It was 07. And we got to perform on the main stage. I got to see Brandon Bennett win. And Grandma was obsessed with Brandon Bennett. She was. And David Allen, she was obsessed with both of them. Yes, those were her men. Absolutely. Yeah. And then she met Bill, and it was all over. Thanks, Bill. No, but from there, I mean, we came back in 08. and that's when we did the recreation of the hardware. Yeah. And it was Debbie's daughter-in-law that played Gladys. Debbie Brandenburg, who is the former manager of the Tupelo Elvis Festival in Main Street. We did the recreation, and we did that for two years, I think, 08 and 09. And then 010, or 10 and 11, 010, you know what I mean. I'm a time traveler, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't sit here and do that. They don't give me a microphone that often. It was so amazing to be around Tupelo at such a very young age and to be around the guys. David was there. You were not.
I wasn't old enough.
You weren't. Couldn't even buy
He was doing the tea party. He was over at the tea party.
I was doing tea party, yeah.
He was doing tea party. I missed that bit.
I know.
I was trying to get the American flag. It's very heavy, by the way. It's bigger than me, so it was quite a feat to get it through the curtain.
It carries the weight of America, is what it does. That's right.
I'm sorry.
I might just bring a British flag next time, just
put it on either ends, and then we can get an Alabama flag right in the center.
I'm practically American anyway. I spend more time out here anyway.
Yeah.
He drove here, and I was very worried.
He did?
Yes.
Do you have a submarine? To go into the
Well, I mean, the amount of rain that's been out there, I may as well have a submarine.
Welcome to Florida. It rains for 5 minutes, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
You think I'm kidding?
Just enough to
wait till Sunday, and you'll be like, well, yeah, that's pretty. You know, last year, the year before, it was in 19, we were backstage, and Tom was walking down the corridor. There's a corridor right now back there. And he stopped, and it was me at the end, and you went, right on time. It's 4 o'clock. The rain's here. Every day, it started at 4.
It's time, 4 o'clock.
But yeah, so from Tupelo, my last year there was in 2010, and my grandmother passed away in 2015. We lost her, and I wasn't doing the Elvis thing that regularly at that time, it was a rough time for our family and whatnot. But I knew that, it sounds cheesy, but that's what she would have wanted me to be doing, is this. And that's the main reason why I do what I do, and obviously for my family, because that's what they are, is my family. And I am so incredibly blessed to be surrounded by such a wonderful family, and I love you guys so much, and I don't get to say that often on stage, uninterrupted. But I love you guys, and thank you so much for supporting all of us and growing this into what it is today, because without y'all, it wouldn't be possible, and I can't thank you guys enough. So thank you guys so much.
What have you learned about being a producer that we might not out there realize that don't do, because every decision, everything comes, and then you're also getting ready maybe to go out to perform, and everything is happening.
I think I can speak for everybody. I mean, because we all produce, every single one of us.
Yeah.
That's in the back, that's sitting up on this stage. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned is you're never not done learning. Mm-hmm. There's always something to be learned. And you don't have to do it alone. And that's the biggest thing that I've learned.
You've got a team.
The best team. The best.
I mean, when we go, we're like a traveling circus that goes in to Jonesboro
We do.
or Collinsville, and everybody hits the place and they know what they're doing, and David will hand me my mic, and I mean, I have the same mic. Every festival you see, it's this mic. It's got the little blue mark. That's mine. But everybody, it doesn't matter what backstage is. Everybody has their things that they're doing, and we just go out and we put on the show. And Absolutely. That's what's so much fun about it. It's we have as much fun getting ready to do it as we have out on stage. I mean, like I said, if I could put a camera in the dressing room.
Don't.
Maybe it would be better a microphone, because you probably don't want to see what's going on back there.
Don't.
We talk about the advancements in wigs. Well, there's been some advancements in Spanx have really taken off.
What are Spanx?
Yeah, well, you'll learn one day. You haven't hit that age yet where the equator starts moving. But Cody, it's just incredible that what you put together. And one thing I alluded to in the open that I wanted to close with you is your belief that these should be licensed and why you feel that. I want them to hear from you why you pay that extra to do that.
And let's be honest, they don't do it for anybody. Mm-hmm. They don't. You have to get approved. You have to go through the process. And I asked Tom, and I said, what do you think? He goes, yes. Didn't even let me finish my sentence. He said, it's the right thing to do. Yeah. Why wouldn't you want to have Elvis's name, Elvis's image, the face of the man that you're trying to further the legacy of? It's just the right thing to do, and it's as simple as that. Yeah, yeah. And it's so cool to be able to work hand in hand with his estate and Angie and Alicia and Jen and Carla and all of them, and and we get to do cool things that Tom gets to do every day of his life.
Yeah, well, I've been very lucky too.
He has, it's the man. Yeah. We were, this man has a lot of cool things in his house, literally.
Oh, yeah. Somehow you and Ben and some people found their way to my home after.
I got lost.
Yeah. In the house?
In the house.
Yeah, yeah.
Ben had to come find me.
Yeah.
It's true. It's true. We got there by sheer luck.
Brianne's feeling of me changed when she saw my bar downstairs. She said, oh, I didn't know you had a full bar downstairs. Oh, well, you're way more attractive than you used to be. So, I don't know, Ben, I think I might get a bar at the house when you get home,
No, you're all right.
Yeah. But, Cote, all of us, anytime you need, it's like Avengers Assemble when you call. Absolutely. And we appreciate it, and they do too. Cody Daniels. Yeah. All right. Time to slide on down because the next person we have out is one of my friends who got me into this mess of a podcast, and here's my payback for him. Ladies and gentlemen, one of those ETAs out there that's also a Tupelo champion, Mr. Alex Mitchell. Goodness gracious, these walkout songs, interestingly chosen.
I don't know why they picked that.
I don't either. Well, too bad you didn't Shazam that one, because if you're not familiar with it. An Elton John classic from back in the day. It was on the Island Girl 8-track, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
It's you've been back there, I'm sure, listening to what all's going on out here, and you know that we are completely full of it. Welcome here to finally set us straight on what's going on. And, for you, I don't know that I've ever asked you the question of how did you discover Elvis in your life?
Well, my grandparents raised me. So, like a lot of people in the audience, I grew up with Elvis, listening to Elvis. Yeah. And they took me to Legends in Concert in Myrtle Beach. And I saw Ryan Pelton. He was my first Elvis. And, hey, take it easy. All right? No, he was amazing. And I was like, wait, that's a job?
Yeah.
And that was it. I mean, I was probably 12 years old. I was like, yes, let's do this.
Yeah. Now, what did the people around you, because in my school growing up, I was just kind of known to be the Elvis person. Mm-hmm. And I think all of us kind of carry that with us in life, wherever we are, in work or in school, that you're were you your school's Elvis person at that time?
Briefly, because I started into it, and then I realized maybe the whole Elvis hair isn't the best idea for high school. So that went away for a little bit, and right out of school I went back into the Elvis thing. But the nickname was Elvis, even with the regular hair.
There you go. They didn't understand.
No, not at all.
You saw a career. Mm-hmm. Did you see a career? Really, truly? Did you see, like, I can, because of Ryan, because of this is a job?
No, I never fathomed that this would be my full-time career.
Yeah.
and support me.
So how long did you come to Memphis for Elvis Week and go to competitions, see competitions before you started competing?
The only thing we had was the Elvis Festival in Myrtle Beach, and Legends put that on for a while, and they would have an ultimate qualifier. That was my only exposure into the contest world. And then when I finally got into an Elvis contest, I was like, yeah, I really shouldn't be here yet. But we did okay.
Yeah. Well, it's all a learning process, you know. Do you have a first gig story of someone that actually hired you to come perform?
Yeah, somebody asked me if I would do their grandmother's birthday party, and she's a huge Elvis fan. She was not a huge. She liked Elvis, but she was not a huge Elvis fan. So it's really awkward. We can sing in front of like 3,000 people, and it doesn't faze us at all. But you put me in a room with just 5 random people and some poor old broad in a chair, and I'm singing to her. Doesn't really. It's as awkward for me as it was for her. I'll put it that way. Yeah.
And Ben wouldn't sing Suspicious Minds, so Ben's doing Mary in the Morning and stuff like that. So I love the horror stories, don't you? I mean, you see them out here on stage and they're all having fun and everything's polished and they've got their set list and they've thought it out and the band's spot on. But these horror stories are the ones that, and somehow you got up the next day and says, I'm gonna do that again.
We're gonna keep doing it, yeah. It's the abuse that builds character, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, yeah. If you can sing like that in front, if you can win them over,
you can win anybody.
You can win it over. Yeah. For you, being a performer and being a tribute artist, when did the contests enter into it? Because you're doing your gigs like that, and when did you say, I want to try to do that?
Well, I looked at contests as more of like, I didn't care if I won. I just wanted people to know who I was.
Yeah.
So for me, and even still, especially any young ETA, a contest should be a marketing investment. You're going on stage in front of hundreds, sometimes thousands of people, and if they didn't know who you were, they do now. So they're going to find you online, and they're going to follow you and hopefully come to your show or buy a CD or T-shirt, and that's what it was for me. Yeah.
And you bring up an interesting point then, because of the podcast that you pitched to Jeff and myself, the Tupelo Tom and Big Lou Talkin'.
On Apple Podcasts and Spotify.
That's right. Wherever you consume your podcasts, available on RCA Records and Tapes. You've really become the person that's plugged us into the technology of social media. What you said about it's a marketing tool. It's to build your fan base, to meet people, and to grow that. And tell us some of the things that you've done for yourself and for the podcast that have the tools in the arsenal that are available that my generation, frankly, I just don't have the wherewithal to find out what's going on. It's lucky I'm still on Facebook. Listen, when you're on Facebook with your 93-year-old mother, you're not really cutting the edge of technology, you know? My dream is to next year for my mother and I to be on Social Security at the same time. I think that would be the coolest to the government, don't you? Like, hey, you're paying for both of us. Actually, we're paying for us because that was my money to begin with. But, sorry, I don't want to go off on that tangent. Talk about...
What was the question?
Exactly, I'm going to recap that. I'll do what I do on the podcast. So talk to us about, and he cuts all that stuff out. You never knew I went off on a tangent. Social media and building your brand as a performer.
It's just a matter of, you stay consistent, you post, let people know you're, alive. That was harsh, wasn't it? Hence the song. Connecting with people is the biggest thing. You can post all you want, but if people just comment and like, oh, it's wonderful, and that just sits there, they'll be like, oh, you don't talk to me, so I'm not going to talk to him. So that's a big thing. And I assume they see our posts in between the post that people share that says, if you don't share this, God's going to burn your house down in 10 minutes. Those aren't real at all. Instagram is another thing. My following isn't. I'm going to do this here, okay? Who has Instagram here? Who has Facebook? There it is. So my demographic is strange. So thanks to the movie, I have more TikTok and Instagram followers because we've attracted a newer audience and a younger audience.
Yes, exactly.
And that's going to continue this thing that we're doing. It'll continue the legacy of Elvis. So Instagram, TikTok. This kid on TikTok is he's good with the TikToks.
I don't know how to do TikTok still.
I would enunciate the tick and talk a little
TikTok?
better. Yeah.
TikTok?
Yeah. You told me, I was unaware that, notice how I don't pay attention to what's going on. I was unaware that fans had taken Gates of Graceland episodes and chopped them up and put them on TikTok, because you told me that, like, you're very big on TikTok.
No, you really are. We have people, cult following of Tom Brown and Angie Marchese with the, who's seen Gates of Graceland? All right, if you haven't seen it, go on YouTube, type in Gates of Graceland. It's Tom Brown for, 20 minutes or so, sometimes 30, a little longer. And him and Angie get to go in the archives, and they pull out artifacts, and there's an interview with you and Jerry, and people have found this, and that's helped talking a lot. But yeah, you're all over TikTok, man.
And you sent one to us the other day. Tell me about Kenzie that you found.
There is a girl named Kenzie Cormick on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and she has like 20,000 followers, and all she posts is Elvis content consistently. And she was nice enough to put together a TikTok that just, it blew me. We should have had it, but it blew me away. It's just amazing, and that's how people find out what's going on.
Well, it's just a way to keep the message out, and the thing I love about it is it's, even if we're invited, it's about Elvis. It's about bringing Elvis to more people, and that's what I think is so amazing about it. And for you, the producing that you're doing on our podcast, you're wrangling in two guys that can bounce off the walls with ideas, and somehow you're able to keep us focused. So we really appreciate that. And I hope you are, we try to produce these podcasts for people to listen to, like on their way to a festival, or maybe when you've left a festival. We have reviews and previews of festivals, but we also have a lot of other content about Elvis that we like to talk about. So we just launched one, or dropped one.
Good job.
Thank you. You told me they don't just come out, they drop. So they drop out of the sky from the cloud, I believe. They're from the cloud. That's the cloud they're talking about.
What the cloud is yet?
We don't. Alex does, but he can't explain it to me because my generation can't understand that. But you just dropped one yesterday?
Yesterday, yeah. I was backstage. They were setting up, and I was backstage putting a podcast together. But it's episode 6.
Episode 6
is out now.
That's right. Return of the Jedi.
It's called Stepping Out of Line.
Stepping Out of Line. We also reviewed back a couple of episodes ago Agent Elvis.
Yeah.
And we decided in our way that we weren't going to comment on the content of Agent Elvis because we found out that Agent Elvis was somewhat split in what people thought about it. That Elvis would love it, or Elvis would hate it, or they hated it, or they loved it, and the language was bad, and this and that. So we decided what we were going to do is we were just going to talk about all the Elvis connections within the series and what was true and kind of the references. So that's how we did it. And that episode is called Too Much Monkey Business. Yeah. Because there was Scatter was in it.
The breakout star of Agent Elvis is Scatter the Monkey.
You know, might get his own spin-off series.
What a terrible monkey he was.
He was a bad monkey.
Golly.
Yeah, there's the quote of the night, by the way. He was a bad monkey.
What a bad monkey.
Yeah. Well, thank you for all that you do.
Thank you.
We will see you this weekend singing. Yeah. And I can't ask you any wig questions because, ladies and gentlemen, he looks like that in the morning naturally. Look at him. Look at him.
Thank you. And me and Ben are the same age.
Wow. It's true. I know. I did send him a text message.
I've never seen a man deflate before.
I did send him a text message. I said, "Do you mind showing me how to do your hair? Because I wanted a few tips for my wig." And that's not weird. We talk about that sort of thing. And straight away he was like, "Yeah, no problem. We'll get together and we'll have a whole couple of hours going through brushing hair and everything." And I'm excited about it.
Well, my favorite text was today. You said, "Do you have a hair dryer?" And I laughed and I laughed and I laughed.
The thing about Ben, they asked Ben one time, "Ben, how long does it take you to do your hair?" And Ben said, "I don't know. I'm never there." So. I stole that from Dolly Parton. But it fits. So, Alex, thank you for being here. We'll scoot everybody down the sofa.
Thank you, Tom.
Because last on the agenda, we had not reached our UK content quota yet. So, from the UK, Mr. Emilio Santoro coming out. Emilio. Have a seat right there. There's a microphone there. David, I'm very sorry. We're going to have to bump you to the backup seating. But we have
This
provided...
is my personal size chair, actually.
We have provided you with some waters and things there, and we'll be out with a dessert menu for you in just a few moments. But let's hear it for David, and for Ben, and for Cote, and for Alex, and for Emilio.
Those are my size.
There you go. There you go. You can finish that in one fell swoop.
It takes me 5 hours to finish one of those.
Well,
Very small person.
They're all over backstage.
Okay.
So. Emilio, welcome. It's great to see you.
How are we all doing, guys? Thank you.
It's like looking in a mirror. It's just really weird. It's strange. Now, we've been...
Same age and everything.
Exactly. Yeah. His mom's on Social Security, too. For you, we've been talking about the discovery of Elvis, and Ben told us his story in the UK, and you're in the UK, and how did this come into your life, Elvis Presley?
Mine's really a stereotypical answer. I mean, I was the age of 4, and I remember seeing, well, my mum's a massive, massive Elvis fan, always has been. And I grew up on the music, just watching Elvis on the screens, and I remember seeing Elvis on the Aloha special, obviously not in '73, but I remember seeing him when I was 4 years old, and then that next Christmas, I wrote to Santa, actually. I said, Santa, can you, this is a true story, actually, Santa, can you make me an Elvis Presley jumpsuit? And luckily, Santa and the elves pulled through, and that next December, I had my first jumpsuit, and ever since then, I've never looked back.
What was it about him? Was it the music? Was it the look? Was it the movies? What drew you to him?
It's just everything about it. I mean, I think for sure, if you listen to my brother's music, it's completely different to mine. I mean, I'll be listening to Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, obviously Elvis Presley. But if you listen to the music nowadays, they just don't have the lyrics that mean as much then. But if you look back at Elvis's music, everything that he would be singing, it was just the lyrics, the look, the charisma on stage, the whole band behind him. Just as soon as you hear these big songs, all these big orchestra behind him, you feel it right in there.
Yeah. When did you realize there was so you wanted a jumpsuit because you wanted to almost like to have that as a one-off costume kind of thing, but when did you know there was a world of guys that do this?
Well, honestly, probably when I was 13 years old, I went to my first festival back home in 2016. And it was the Porthcawl Elvis Festival in Wales, and that was my first ever one. I know that Ben used to go to when he was younger.
Wow, man, I'm taking a beating tonight. I'll tell you. What did you do to him? I know.
And they're roomies, so this is not going to go well for dinner tonight for you.
No, but I went there with my mum, and I still go to a lot of the festivals with my mum. But her being an Elvis fan, she can travel the world with me, being able to see all these amazing shows. She was here actually last year with me. I'm sure some of you guys probably met her. But it's amazing having my mum there with me along the way, because she supported my journey like more than anyone. It's actually her birthday in 2 days as well, so Mum, if you're watching on Susan's live feed, I'm sorry I can't be there for you. But yeah, 2016 was my first ever one, and I think I went to every Elvis festival I could back home, and then I came out to the States, and I met all you guys, and I'm loving it.
Welcome to the family. For you, is one of the things we haven't talked about being a contestant, and that is the science that goes into. Alex talked a little bit about how the ETAs can build their fan base and can meet people and create a relationship that they inform the fans where they're going to be and things. But there's another strategy, and guys, over here, they're
so lonely over here.
Look. Cody, look at that. Look at that. I got a little shiny thing. The strategy, the science that goes into what you sing in a contest, because you send in these lists and you might not get the first choice, you might get the second choice or the third choice, but every one you put on a list has to be something you feel comfortable with. There's ballads, there's up-tempo songs. Talk to me a little bit about how you approach what you're going to perform and what era you feel comfortable in.
Yeah, so personally, I mean, I'm a 50s movies Elvis guy. Thank you. For the competitions, sometimes you get the rounds where it's 2 songs, or sometimes you get the rounds where it's 1 song. Personally, I love it where in the round you can sing 2 songs in 1 round, because you can do 1 fast and one slow, like ballad, so you can do vice versa of like each side of Elvis's genres. But I mean, I always look at a list. I've got a list of some of my personal favorites to sing, some of my ones that I think are my personal strong songs that I can do. And then I just tend to just go with the flow of it, really. I always put my favorites at the top. I think you can't go into the rounds as well. What I always look at it, you can't go into the rounds like sort of saying, oh, I think this song will get me through. I think you want to sing the songs that you would sing in your finals. Like if you make the final, you want to sing your strong songs first more than anything, because if you don't make it past the first round, you wouldn't be with the top guys and everything in the finals. So.
Yeah, it's all a strategy. I mean, all you guys, how long did it take you guys to figure that out, or did you ever figure it out? Cody hadn't figured it out.
I clearly haven't. And in 3rd place,
Cody Daniels.
Again. Oh my goodness.
To be fair, I broke 2nd, so I really don't care anymore. So we broke the streak. Like I don't.
Emilio, have you found a difference in the audiences in the UK, and then a difference, to what you find in America in listening to you?
100%. I think. Just wait here. Just wait here.
It might be bad, so I don't know.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Okay. I think. I mean, growing up, I've always looked up to a lot of you guys. Well, all the guys that are on stage with me, I still do now. But except you. But I mean, obviously doing all the shows back home, you get comfortable with the crowd. You know the crowd. You know what songs they enjoy. But I always love speaking to Ben. Ben always gives me advice on when coming out here, sort of what to do, and like sort of what the crowd are like and everything. And he would always say about how you're not afraid to scream. And I think the first time I came out here, I felt that. So you guys are so welcoming, and I love coming out here all the time to see you guys. And I see a few familiar faces. I see the BVDs. But yeah, I always love coming out here, and thank you for letting me into your country and singing the best music that's ever been made.
Well, goodness.
Can I just say that?
No. No.
I'm taking my Reed's hat off.
Oh, don't do that.
It's really nice for me. I've been the only Brit coming out here for a while, and it's nice to see the next guy from Britain, in my opinion, who's leading the way, really come out and show you guys. I'm very proud of what he's done. So.
And we might have seen Emilio and not realized we've seen Emilio, because you've got this amazing story. I watched it again today from America's Got Talent with Simon and Howie and everybody. Tell everybody the story of how they might have first met you without realizing.
So, first of all, I've never been so nervous for a show in my life. But it was back in July, actually, so I know this was going on even during Elvis week, but I had to sign a confidentiality sort of contract with AGT. So they reached out to me, they sent me an email whilst I was doing a show back in my hometown. Well, Metaphysics, the company that done the AI deepfake on me, they said to me, would you be our Elvis for the America's Got Talent final? So I ignored it for 2 days because I thought it was a scam, because it was just so it was so out the blue. Like I didn't believe it. It was so out the blue. They sent me another message then, and they said, "Oh, could you get in contact with us?" So they gave me their phone number. I called them up, and they explained their project, and then I looked them up on YouTube, and I thought, "Oh wow, these guys are great." So then we kept in contact, and they got me to send a few sort of videos for them to just like do some tests on my face to make sure my face matched up with Elvis's, and so they could do all these AI sort of tricks and stuff I can't even explain, so I'm not going to bother. But they flew me out in August just after, so I got home from Elvis week on August the 19th. I had a show back in my hometown again on August the 20th, and then they flew me out to LA on August the 21st. So then, it was a killer. But so they flew me out on the 21st, and then for that whole week, I was in LA, and they were doing all the mapping of my face. They're doing the choreography with the whole AGT team. Obviously, when Simon would be singing, or the guy, Daniel Emmett, would be singing, who's actually the guy who sung as Simon Cowell was actually a resident at the Westgate in Vegas. So I was out there, and we did all the choreography, they done the mapping on my face. I went home, and they flew me back out in September for the live finals. And I was shaking like a leaf. I was so nervous, and I mean it. I think it was 15 million people was watching it live or something like that. So it was something big, and it was definitely a crazy experience in my career, and one I'll never look back on. But I'll always look back on. Sorry, man. But
I was so scared.
But then even after we done the show, Simon came up to us and he introduced himself, and I was like, I know who you are. But it was nice to have a fellow Brit out there for sure. He was introducing himself, and hello, I'm Simon Cowell. Hi, I'm Emilio. But that's it really.
Well, it's just an amazing story, and what I love about it is they got someone that loved Elvis to do it. They could have gotten, they got someone that had the moves, because the AI was mostly the face. You were bringing everything else, and the fact that you were there, and the fact that Ben is sitting over there thinking, yeah, well, when you've done a movie with Harrison Ford, you let me know. Oh, I knew what you were thinking the whole time.
Something that was actually cool about the America's Got Talent thing as well, that I was able to share the stage with Drake Milligan, who's also been on the Elvis tribute scene. So it was really nice, because I was obviously very sort of shy around these big stars, and I was quite nervous backstage. Drake saw me in my gold lame, and he came up to me and said, "Is that B&K?" And then we was just speaking about Elvis backstage, and that was just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, to just settle the nerves, because one of the Brotherhood was back there with you. That was cool. Well, we have had a great time. We've got some performers coming up later tonight. This evening is only getting started. I want to thank everybody for being here tonight. David Lee and Ben Thompson and Cody Daniels and Alex Mitchell and Emilio Santoro. Very, very sorry. Joan Embry from the San Diego Zoo. We are totally out of time for her. We're going to have her back on a future edition. We're going to take a quick break. Thank you. And we'll be back in just a bit. Stay tuned for The Tomorrow Show with Tom Snyder.